On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will take a deep dive into Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 5 to break down its Easter eggs, top moments, and how it mirrored The Empire Strikes Back. If Matt isn't keeled over in pain after that segment, the dudes will discuss some Book of Boba hot toys and the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation trailer. Of course, the show will end with the question of the week responses and the latest round of top 5 Star Wars fan artists. Punch it, Chewie!
Hey now, everybody! Whoop whoop! Welcome to the Star Wars Time Show. It's Matt and Nick, and we are here to try and get through what could be a clusterfuck type of show. Because if you've been following the tea leaves, or you pay attention to the SWTS on our other platforms, or you tuned into episode 217, you found out that the one wheel took me out, broke my leg. I've had surgery since our last show, and I'm now recovering from that. But it's not been a fun few days. But I'm excited to be here talking Star Wars with Nick. Mostly Obi-Wan Kenobi, because there's really not much else going on. They kind of blew their load at Celebration, and now we've been reminded what the doldrums of a Star Wars-less summer are. But hey, we got Kenobi. We got the finale coming up, episode 5 to break down today. So, you know, we're still living our best life in Star Wars, as long as you're not me in your real life and you break stuff. So, little update on the leg, Nick. All right, might as well get through this now.
Let's see it. Let's hear it.
And I did shave the mustache, so I'm sorry to those of you that were fans of the stash, but I figured for this, I might try to bring back some sort of a large, disgusting beard. Kind of like a recovery beard, akin to an NHL player's playoff beard, but for something much less cool, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so the stash is gone. But anyways, last Thursday, went in for surgery to repair my broken leg. It was, they ended up just needing screws, Nick, instead of plates, so I guess that was a good thing. But that also led to my doctor deciding that I could be discharged from the hospital. He's like, oh yeah, he'll be good. Didn't have to put that much hardware in there. No big deal. He looks like he's in shape. He could be a Tommy tough guy. So let's send him home. All right. So I get home Thursday after being at the hospital at like 6 in the morning. I think I was back around 3 in the afternoon. Still had a lot of dope in the knee running through the system. You know what I mean? Some of that good hospital crack that they give you. Sadly, I can't take a lot of it. I couldn't even get the nerve blockers because of the other conditions I have. I can't take NSAIDs. So for something like this, that's just kind of compounded the suckery, not being able to take anti-inflammatories when your whole fucking leg is inflamed. But anyways, get home Thursday. Throw on the new Nick Cage movie again because the wife hasn't seen it. She took the day off to take care of me. And, you know, like, we're watching that. Leg's still feeling all right. Still on that good dope, taking the Oxycontin. And then comes Thursday evening. And probably around 10 o'clock, I start to realize, like, man, I think all that good stuff is wearing off. I mean, the hospital sauce, the stuff that was in the bags, that's going away. Something's not feeling good right now. So I was like, let's just move into the bed. And within the next 2 hours, Nick, I was in the most intense pain, the most challenging pain I've ever had to mentally deal with in my life. And I've spiral fractured my leg, which prior to this was the most intense pain I've ever had. But holy shit, there's no joke to having stuff drilled into your bones while you're alive. You know what I mean? Like, your body definitely does not appreciate it. And within hours of it happening, it will let you know with fury that it did not appreciate what just happened. And I'm telling you, man, before we went live, I was kind of teasing it, but I would be laying in bed almost having a seizure because of how fucking painful it was. And, you know, I was fucking crying. I was like, there's no relief. There's no relief. Like, there's no, I could have jammed pillows all the way up my asshole to where my leg was standing straight up, and it still was not going to give me an ounce of relief. The 5 milligrams of Oxy was bullshit. The prescription Tylenol was bullshit. I mean, we've lightly talked about how I've kind of turned away from religion over the years. I was openly praying to God, Jesus, Buddha. It doesn't fucking matter. The Force, anything. I was like, please, please. And I would just keep saying please over and over again just to kind of give my brain something to focus on. But hey, like many people will remind me, it could always be worse. I get it. But that was some fucking shit. So I feel for anyone else that's gone through something similar, having hardware inserted into their body and being sent home day of and not being kept in the hospital. So you're monitored and actually put on a morphine drip. I'm with you. I think we went through some terrible mental pain, but hopefully I'll be less of a pussy because of it. But shit, man. You know, I was ready to call 911. That's how bad it was getting.
Yeah, man. That is really, really rough. I mean, that sounds like some sort of stuff that like you wouldn't wish on your worst enemies.
Hey, dude, I was thinking that same thought. I'm like, I am a hateful, vengeful, scummy type of person. Like, I really do sometimes curse people on the highway. Like, if they piss me off, I'll point at them and literally go, I hope you crash, or I hope you break your neck. I mean, I'm that awful of a person. And you are 100% correct. When I was going through that, I was sitting here saying, like, I don't even think I could wish this on my greatest enemy. This is so fucked. I want to die. Like, I wanted anything but to be alive at that moment. But luckily, it kind of ran its course. I didn't sleep all night. I actually checked in with the Discord gang. They've been kind of fun to check in, cause you know we're somewhat multinational, international. You know, so some of them are up at random parts of the day while others are sleeping. So yeah, I checked in. I'm like, fuck, guys, I haven't slept. I mean, it was that awful. I didn't even fall asleep. But luckily, the doctor upped the Oxy, decreased the interval between doses, and over time, it's been getting there. Well, there's Nick's first dropout. That was pretty good. We know he'll be back. This is the fun of being on the live stream version of the Star Wars Time Show. People only get to hear it when they listen to the podcast version. They don't get to actually see the, as Tones calls it, the Nick in carbonite, which is when Nick freezes and takes a quick break. So, yeah, there you go. Nick, I was just saying, you know, those Thursday night, most of the day Friday was pretty rough, but I think things are trending in the right direction now. And we lost him again. Here we go. You gotta love it. That was our quickest drop, right? That was like within seconds.
We'll see if it lasts longer. We'll see if we can even get through 10 minutes.
I think what it's doing, Skype is going, wah, we feel so bad for your leg, you pussy. Hang up, technical difficulties. So you're right. Let's move on. But you know, I was just kind of wrapping up. Headed in the right direction. Still hurts like a motherfucker. I finally get to take the dressing off today for the first time since Thursday, so hopefully that will relieve some pressure, and I'll get to see how gnarly it looks, and maybe start bending this Frankenstein bitch. And I'll get there. 8 weeks, no wait. Who knows what it is beyond that? But I'm definitely looking at whole summer's toast in terms of wanting to be on 2 feet. So, yay!
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, you're an in shape person. You're healthy.
I was, man. I'm going on like 2 weeks of just sitting around. So Who knows what this gut's going to look like? I might be rivaling Jabba the Hutt here in a little bit, but it's expected.
Fat Thor. We'll be Fat Thor. But hopefully you're.
I wish I was. Fat short Thor. How's that?
Maybe all the work you put in taking care of yourself leading up to this will put you on a faster road to recovery.
Might actually be worth something instead of just being able to eat more than I should on a weekend. Good point.
Exactly.
Good point. All right, buddy. Let's go ahead and get into this Star Wars. I'm ready. I am feeling better being on the show here. The head has not been in a great place, but for someone as pessimistic as me, I'm actually, I think, handling this thing all right. I gotta thank Ink Master, dude. I finished the seasons I didn't see, and now I've restarted it. I'm up to season 3 again, so I don't know what it is. I'm obsessed with watching people get tattooed. Maybe it's a sign that I need to just, while I'm laid up,
I'm gonna say
might as well get the arms marked up, huh, bud? Is it time?
It's seeping in. The last few weeks, we've been talking about oh man, I could get this as a tattoo. I could get this as a tattoo. Now. It's getting there. It's finally getting there. Maybe your post recovery gift to yourself will be you know what you should get? You should do one of those tattoos where you get a bionic piece tattooed over where your fucking your leg star is.
I have been doing a little more research, and I have been looking at what neo traditional Star Wars or new school Star Wars or American traditional Star Wars would look like. And quite frankly, I think it looks great in all 3 styles. It's just finding that right piece of art that doesn't feel like a million other Star Wars bros could have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a great, if you just search American traditional Star Wars, there is a fantastic Vader.
I've seen that one before.
With the quote, "It's too late for me now." I mean, how that is perfect for me. Perfect. But it's all right. Hideous is in here. Hey, buddy, I just blew out my leg. I don't know if you've figured that out, but I know he had an injury recently. Luckily not as shitty as mine, but he knows what it's like to be gimped out. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to that Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 5, or as the fans in quote call it, finally. Right, Nick? Finally. That was the general theme after episode 5. Everyone that has hated the series so far was finally pleased. It scratched the itch that they need scratched for their Kenobi, so I am happy for them. But you know how we do here. Let's just go ahead and give our individual review and kind of, what stood out, what we may or may not have liked. And then we'll get into more of the geeky type of breakdown, the Easter eggs, the mirrored moments to Empire, just like I hinted that there would be, and I truly felt that there was at least 5 in there. And you never know what else we'll talk about. And surely we'll kind of set up our expectations and speculations for the finale, which is dropping soon all around the world. Yes, it is all over, my friends. It feels like it just started, but here we are. So, young Nick, I know it's fresh in your mind, my friend. What say you about Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 5 overall?
I was a fan. It did pay off on a lot of the speculations that we had talked about throughout the leading to the season, and then as the episodes were releasing, the big reveal with Reva being one of the Padawans that Anakin failed to kill at the end of Rots, her going after her for vengeance, for vengeance, and that, so that storyline playing out was not necessarily surprising, but it was cool to see that come to fruition. Love the draws to Empire, like you said, with there needing to be a mass exodus of people off of this planet because there is an attack imminent by the Empire. Yeah, I mean, overall, it did kind of feel like it was the episode that had the least amount of traveling in it, obviously, because you're stuck in this bunker on Jabeam with the people who are trying to escape. But I think that it did a fantastic job of not only hearkening to the future, with what's going to happen in Empire, but also hearkening to the past, showing the training montages from the AOTC days between Anakin and Obi-Wan, which I thought was amazing. I wish that there was a little bit more of that throughout the season, but knowing that we still have an episode left to see some more of that possibly, and then I mean, who knows what the future holds for Kenobi. But I thought this episode was definitely up there with the best of them, up there with episode 3 among the best. So
it's amazing.
A solid.
Isn't it amazing what a little Darth Vader can do for a Star Wars fan's soul, especially those that might be a little more critical or expecting a little bit more out of this series. But yeah, I mean, Nick, would you say, in your opinion, was this episode our first glimpse of what a almost Vader perspective driven Star Wars series could be? Did you not get those vibes a bit, especially the way they were cutting in between the flashback and to the present?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's what a Vader centric series would be like, because you would have to imagine you'd have to imagine that the guy constantly lives in his head, constantly reflects on the past, because that's all that he has to feed himself off of. So I do think that if we were to ever see a proper Vader series, that it would probably be pretty similar to that, where you're seeing scenes from his past, whether it be from his childhood or, during his time at the at the Jedi Temple, or showing the present timeline. So I think that it could be close. And it's just like having Hayden there gives you so much opportunity to explore things in the past that you weren't able to explore before in other series, or impossible to do in live action. I would hope that this would give them some sort of clarity on whether
it works
a Vader
so
series
well.
is possible.
It works so well, especially like you said, the way they frame it. Because I don't know about you, but to me the flashback seemed like a shared flashback between Obi-Wan and Anakin throughout the entire episode. Especially the way they were cutting to and from it. I mean, I believe when we get the initial flashback, once we cut back to the present, it's right to Darth Vader pressing his attack, just like we saw Anakin doing in the early stages of the battle. And it just, to me, it was it was a perfect use of a flashback, and it was unlike how I expected them to use the flashback. I thought it was just going to be kind of self-indulgent to Obi-Wan and to help him. But honestly, it was for us as the audience members, as fans, as people that always wanted to kind of be sitting in that sparring room watching these two heroes practice. We really got to see, Hayden Christensen is finally Darth Vader. I mean, I have finally made that connection, and this episode is what kind of sealed the deal for me. You now see Anakin and Vader and Anakin. It has finally happened in live action Star Wars. Yeah.
Could you imagine if we actually got scenes like that in AOTC, in Lots, where it showed that type of stuff?
I mean, bro, that was pre-Attack of the Clones. Like, he's as Padawan as it gets, and he is an arrogant, cocky bitch. And you can tell from Obi-Wan's lessons, he's been saying the same shit over and over and over. And Anakin is just so bullheaded because of his ability. Yeah. I just thought I was completely pleased with how they used that flashback. And I know this is I'm getting overindulgent in my review of the episode, but I really think the way the flashback was used definitely made it the best episode of the series. And to me, the way they delivered the story, some of the best storytelling device or use of a device in all of Star Wars. I thought it was beautiful, and how it tied their relationship as Master and Padawan directly to the cat and mouse game they're playing in the present as the same people, but on different, sides of light and dark.
So here's a question for you. I don't think we've ever talked about this before in the history of the Star Wars Time Show.
Ooh.
After seeing what Deborah did with that flashback, do you think would you be a proponent of special edition prequels that go in and add some color like that?
Dude, I mean,
You know,
come on, Hayden Christensen redeemed, right? Anybody?
Yeah.
Anybody? Like, I guess I'll be one of those types. I am surprised they didn't go with the de-age. I didn't think it looked awful, and it didn't take me out of the moment.
Ewan looked spot the fuck on, but yeah, Anakin. I mean, Hayden looked a little old.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He
not
just,
too
he had the wrinkles, and he was young.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was very early 20s. So
yeah, I think he was.
I mean, we all look that way.
22.
I would look that. I had nothing against Hayden. I'm just surprised they made that choice. Whatever. I mean, it still worked for me. It was beautiful. Those two, they're just everything together on screen. But you get to see in a different director's hands, and please don't strike me down, Palpatine, because we love George, but it's the same guy, the same actor. Are you going to tell me, time made him better? He hasn't fucking worked. It's not like he's practicing his craft. Is it watching the Clone Wars? Did that help? Maybe we could argue a little bit, but I think what you're seeing is Hayden being directed the way he needs to be directed, and that is the best live action Anakin you're gonna get. I mean, that to me now supersedes the bunker scene when he's on the Lars family farm regretting what he did to the Tusken Raiders. That to me was the only other real shining moment of emotions from Hayden in live action Star Wars. But now we have this gift from episode 5. Wrinkles aside, the dude fucking nailed it. I mean, the aggression. Yeah. He felt like that Revenge of the Sith Anakin in that fight. I mean, he was like, blah, blah, blah. He looked like Vader in that fight, sometimes one-handed, beating down his master. Whew. Yeah. I mean, exciting stuff.
It was impressive, not only from an acting standpoint, but also like they trained again. Like they did that scene with the lightsaber.
Didn't it feel like Nick choreographed it? Did it not feel like Nick choreographed it?
Like, it felt so authentic
and
to
yes,
the prequel
we can
style
call him,
of fighting.
We can call him by his first name. We're boys
we know Nick.
With Nick.
Yeah. He's a good friend of the show. But it did. Like that felt so authentic to Nick Gillard's style that
they
he
nailed
built
it
for the prequels. And it just felt like Ewan and Hayden just fell right back in. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we don't know how long the training took for them to have that scene. It was a shorter scene. Obviously, they weren't doing as much as they were doing in the prequels. But still, they fell back into that so easily. Yep. And just like for me, like I saw that now, like immediately I was like, oh, my God. Like, imagine if they went into episodes 2 and 3 and they just added like 2 or 3 of those scenes in there to each movie.
Yeah.
Like they just added.
I'll
like,
pay for it. I'll pay for the de-aging, for Christ's sakes. I'll find someone on YouTube to do it. I'm sure they're out there already.
Yeah. They've probably already done it. Like
that's what I mean.
I mean,
it was great. It was great.
It got me so excited to see, like, now that we've kind of breached this wall, because that's kind of what it was. It's like, in Star Wars TV, there are certain things that you have to breach in order to move forward. I think the first big breach was like, all right, we're going to put Luke Skywalker in something. Like, we're going to have Mark Hamill come here. Luke Skywalker is going to be in an episode. And now the next hurdle was this one. The next hurdle was, hey, let's go back to prequel timeline and add something that wasn't there that makes it better. And they just did that. So like now, I don't know if they plan on doing more things like this in the future with other series. I don't know if this has like opened up the doors for them to revisit the prequel timeline. But like, man, like I saw that scene and I was like, dude, episode 2 could be made infinitely better if they had scenes like this in it.
I was just sitting here thinking to myself, because I'm a genius. I'm like, just think about everyone think about this right now. The prequel to Attack of the Clones that we just watched is probably the best content in all of the live action prequels. I know it's short and sweet, but think about it. Think about the dialogue, the lessons, the action. And that's the fucking prequel to Attack of the Clones. It is unbelievable. They really pulled something magical off to get that close to that movie, which many fans think is the biggest turd overall. I think it's a gem at this point in time. I love Attack of the Clones. It's so goofy. But we now have something attached to it that I, at least in my opinion, is some of the best overall prequel live action content to date. And like Nick's saying, I would love to see what Nick's thinking. I mean, I think he's got a great idea. Yeah, let's do it. George made special editions. Why not? I know it's never going to happen. I mean, this is true pie in the sky type of shit, but why not add 10, 15 minutes of runtime to all three prequel films and do what Deborah and crew and Hayden and Ewan just did in this Obi-Wan Kenobi series?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be grandiose scenes. All it has to be is stuff like that, where you're not only pointing to the flaws in the present and showing, like, telling him, hey man, like, if you keep going like this, it's not going to end up well. Like he said, like, this is why you will remain a Padawan. Yeah. Telling him, like, this is what's holding you back from becoming your best self. Not only hearkening to that, but hearkening to the future. Showing what will ultimately hold Vader back from greatness in the past and in the future. I mean, and it could just be temple scenes. It could be small scenes of them in the field, doing small missions where Anakin does something reckless. Like, it doesn't have to be these grandiose fight scenes where it's him versus Dooku or him versus Ventress. We got that in the
cartoons, and that's where they should be. I mean, we don't want to get too goofy in live action. And I mean, all along, man, that this has been my problem with Anakin in the prequels, and it's always just been with Anakin and his turn. That's really what bummed me out the most about the prequels. I get why they're beloved, and like I said, I've come a long way in my own appreciation of them. But they just never, to me, showed his darkness, his arrogance outside of stupid shit. Like, I'm sweet on a speeder, and I'm good in a starship. Yeah. No, I want to see him as a Padawan beating the living fuck out of his master because he is so powerful, but then loses because of his arrogance and blindness. I mean, like you said, I wrote down these two quotes, and again, they're icing on the cake here. These are fantastic Star Wars quotes when it comes to Anakin Skywalker and the tragedy of the character. Your need for victory, Anakin, it blinds you. And then the ultimate lesson, your need to prove yourself is your undoing. And that holds true, as Nick said, even into his form as Vader. The reason he can never achieve his true greatness is because he never learned those lessons from Obi-Wan Kenobi that we now had the privy to see play out in this fairy tale land. I know it's silly to be talking like this, but it's art, man. I mean, what we just saw was that is the connective tissue that weaves through Star Wars that I live and die for.
Yeah, I mean, that scene alone has just, like, verified to me that the move to make this series was right all along. Oh yeah. I mean, I know that, like, as with anything Star Wars related, everybody is going to go through their ebbs and flows when the new content comes out because people react in the moment, and that's something that Obi-Wan would probably tell Anakin not to do, is not to react in the moment, not to overreact to something when there is no finality to it yet. And we saw the backlash to episode 4, but then when you see something like episode 5 and you see the full picture coming together, then you can be like, oh, patience. Okay. Patience. Okay. Patience. Exactly.
Really, I mean, Nick, I think we have there's two groups of fans now. I think there's fans that would prefer just the quicker, tighter, more action-oriented, although I've never really associated Star Wars as an action franchise, but I think that because maybe they did watch the Clone Wars, which was punchier action, the shorter 20 minutes, little arc type of boom, 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 bang, Miller time stuff. And then there's, people like us and some of the people that listen to us, those of you out there that are here for the slow burn, the longer form storytelling where, you do have to wait a little bit and you do have to kind of let the whole thing stew and develop before you get the full picture revealed. And that's just, that's how it's going to be. Some are, they just want that loud in your face video game style Star Wars. And there's definitely a market out there for that. It's just, I'm old, broken, and sitting in a chair these days, so I'll take the story.
When it comes to Star Wars, we also have to remember too that like if you're a fan of like general sci-fi, like if you're a fan of Star Trek, you were used to from the moment that Star Trek came out, like it's a long-term story. Like it's a story that plays out over episodes, over time, over seasons. Whereas Star Wars was from the beginning, it's like, here you go. You got 2 hours of movie, and then you can have your opinions after the movie's over. You sit down, you watch it in one shot, and then you can hate it or you like it. Like Star Wars fans aren't used to having to wait for a story to play out in its entirety.
No, you're right.
It's just
I mean, when it's all said and done, man, if this thing averages out as it's been doing, we're looking at a 240-minute long film.
Yeah,
it's a long time. So you just we'll see how it plays out. But okay, I think it's safe to say we both really enjoyed Part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So let's get into some of the deeper dive stuff, the eggs, the top moments, the nerdy side of breaking down Star Wars. And I just want to remind everyone, we'd love for you to check us out on YouTube. If you want to get into the live stream and you've just been listening to the podcast, we do the live stream every Tuesday, 2:30 p. East, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Have also been throwing up some more shorts. Did a couple shorts for this episode, top 8 moments, as well as 5 moments from Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 5 that mirror The Empire Strikes Back. If you remember our discussion last week, I was kind of setting up how if you've looked at every part of Obi-Wan Kenobi, each part there are mirrored moments or reflections of episodes 1 through 6 of the films. So got that type of content out there for you. All right, man. So like we did last week, we'll just kind of go through these lovely looking screenshots we have on StarWarsTime.net. Give them a check if you're on the podcast version. Otherwise, strap in, live streamers. Here we go. Let's enjoy ourselves some Jedi bros. That's right. There he is right there. The true return of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. Padawan Skywalker. Just so everyone is on the same page, this was pre-Attack of the Clones. He still has his lightsaber and he still has his hand. Yeah, his hand is the key, really. So
yeah, really. Like that, that was in the AOTC area, but not after AOTC.
Right,
that is the very clear point of that.
Some other things to point out, and one that I had pointed out to me from the community. A lot of people are speculating as soon as we open and we kind of come up on Anakin from behind, the building he is looking at is none other than Senator Amidala's penthouse. So he's longing for her. This could be right before that fateful elevator ride up to that penthouse, where to announce that they've been assigned to protect her. But either way, this was definitely the same practice room that we saw at the beginning of Obi-Wan Kenobi, when we got a different perspective of Order 66. So if you look here and then look here on the live stream, you can see the kids were out on that same kind of open air training room. So nice kind of connective tissue even within the series itself at this point in time. But Nick, you and I, we kind of already gushed over the flashback. I kind of put some of the screenshots in order, it was just so well done. I mean, the choreography was brilliant. It mimicked what Nick did during the prequels. It was fast. It was intense, and especially from Anakin's side, it was powerful. I mean, you already see, like I said earlier, his movements from the Mustafar battle in Revenge of the Sith. I mean, they're already there doing the quick counters, because, as Nick explained to us, and I was the idiot, and he's like, listen, yeah, they may sit there and wave their lightsabers nonstop because they trained together their entire lives. I mean, Obi-Wan trained Anakin. Of course, they're going to fight very in a very similar fashion. But, you know, I think the quotes coming out of here were big. I already threw those out there. I mean, those are like up there type of Star Wars quotes. Like, you know, if there is a granite book out there somewhere that has been etched in with quotes like "I am your father," you know, stuff like that, or these quotes to me belong in there just because of how, you know, at this point, obviously it's hindsight. We're seeing what happens, but it just foreshadows his fall and why he let himself fall. I mean, that Anakin's need to always win and be the best and be the strongest, finish first. It blinds him to everything else around him. And then it also kind of feeds into that need to prove himself. And the need to prove himself is really what takes him down. You know, like, I am a master. Screw you. Watch this. I know what's right. We should bring him in for trial. That's why I'm taking you out, Master Windu. I mean, there you go. So
see, like, that would, in that scene too, like the one that you just mentioned, you know, how can I be on the council and not be a master? You're not a master, blah, blah, blah. That whole scene. How much context does what we just saw in Obi-Wan Kenobi give to that?
A ton.
Like we could make assumptions at that time in Rots that, like, oh, he's, you know, he's probably not ready. He's probably a little reckless, but we hadn't seen it all that much. Like, we saw that he was an incredible duelist. We saw that, like, he does have some overconfidence, but, like, there was a pretty big fucking time jump between AOTC and Rots. And we also just saw him not only take down Count Dooku and rescue the Chancellor, but he also, like, had built a resume through the Clone Wars that was like, it's hard for you to imagine him not getting master. Like, now, like, with scenes like that, it gives so much more context into why the decision was made to not make him a master.
Just,
like,
didn't have the right headspace. I mean, Jedi's. I think I didn't write this line down. It was another good one, but I mean, Obi-Wan pretty much says Jedi's aren't there to win; they're there to defend and protect.
Exactly.
You know, we're not here to win and kick ass, but that's all he ever wanted, and look where it led him. But you're right, man. I mean, now, fans of the Clone Wars are going to sit there and be like, yeah, this is what we've been telling everyone, and I'm one of you. I get it. I'm just glad people that have never seen this side of Anakin and that competitiveness, the drive that isn't already in the prequels and kind of wonky just through the delivery and the whininess. I mean, this is what the Clone Wars gave us, and Nick is 100% correct. It now fleshes out and gives those that have only seen live action Anakin, now when we see him in Revenge of the Sith and some of the scenes and some of his tantrums, we're like, all right, yeah, I mean, that's just this guy. Obi-Wan was right. Like, he can't get past those critiques. He can't get past himself. He's got to win. He always has to be right. So yeah, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum on the flashback. Just to recap, in my opinion, it is one of the most beautiful uses of a flashback, and I just really appreciated how they really made it feel like it was being shared by both Anakin and Obi-Wan, as a lot of headspace, in my opinion, has been shared between these two since Episode 3. It really is like they're almost having that dyad-esque connection that Rey and Ben Solo did in the sequel trilogy. But they're not a dyad. Yeah. I think we discussed that. You can't be a dyad and the chosen one. That's just too much, right? Yeah. Too many midichlorians.
OP.
Yeah. OP.
OP.
Yeah. All right, so moving on from that, I mean, the Easter egg there was just, obviously, the late one was, hey, Padme's penthouse, but the one I did get, that's where the whole series opened, with the younglings, Reva's younglings, as I told you, and as we learned in this episode. So I know another big one, at least from the Easter egg front, Nick, came at the Jedi Wall moment, you know, Obi-Wan is really kind of coming into the role of being a general again. I had that noted down as one of my top moments. I mean, outside of his mullet, it is great to kind of see. You're seeing the general, just like Roken called him last week. Kenobi is, after that mission in Episode 4, whether you liked it or not, that's what he needed to both see from the Path people and himself. Like, all right, yes, there is a reason to fight. These motherfuckers are doing it. I need to do it, but I need to do it at my level and what I can do, and that is at General Kenobi level. So I do like seeing that shift in him from week to week now. But on the wall, Nick, and no, this does not come from me. I just have the notion to go out and research for this type of stuff and where to find it. But we did get some of the inscriptions decoded from the Jedi Wall that you saw in Jabeam there in Episode 5. And for you Legends people, 3 of the names may stand out. I mean, from what I could understand or study and pick up from you Legenders out there, is that these were like deep cut Legends type of Order 66 survivors. So we're talking Corwin Shelvey, Roganda Ismarin, and Jin Altis. So Nick, do any of those ring a bell with you?
I don't know any of those.
Gotcha.
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I may have read those names back in the day, but I don't think that they were ever like the focus of any of the stories.
That's what I mean.
Read.
I mean, it was, and I actually looked up their Wikipedias. You got to say it that way. You got to say Wikipedias, and they were there. I mean, but very basic, as was kind of prefaced in the Reddit that I found this in. They're like, yeah, I mean, these are like some deep cut motherfucking Jedis, but they liked that they at least threw them out there. And then Obi-Wan kind of translated some of the rest of that stuff. Now, I did not go ahead and check in on the lightsaber hilts and who these could belong to, because at the point that I was going through this, my leg was still broken and not set yet, and I didn't feel like spending all day diving down this rabbit hole. Nick, I know you are the lightsaber expert, but I didn't feel like any of these really stood out.
I mean, the one that looks most similar to something that you would probably recognize is the one all the way on the end to the left that looks kind of like Qui-Gon's lightsaber,
Right.
But that's definitely not it. The rest of them are a little bit more difficult. I mean, I think you might have Kit. What does Kit Fisto's look like?
Yeah, his could have been picked up. Really, any of those that got murdered by the Senate could have been picked up.
Yeah, I mean, Kit Fisto's. No, that's not it. Yeah, I don't see his in there. But there is one that has like a very similar shape to it, but the color is wrong.
Yeah, I just like at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I mean, there's a lot of lightsabers, there are a lot of dead Jedi. There you go. That's how I'm going to break that one down. And then the robe box too. What do you think about Obi-Wan's choice of robe? I don't know if I'm loving the sleeveless look too much on our man Obi-Wan. What about you? I'm
going to be completely honest. I didn't even notice the robe.
It just, like, it just showed up, and you're caught up with the action, and when Vader was going to break through, you're just like, you didn't. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. But no, he I have the shot up here. No, he does not have the robe on.
Yeah, no,
yet.
I see it. It's like the one that he's deflecting some of the blaster bolts when they first bust through the door. You can see that it is like a sleeveless robe.
Yeah, but it's kind of gangster, I mean, it's got that motorcycle gang feel to it, but I don't know. I just don't think it goes with Kenobi.
On the back of it, it's just embroidered, and it's like OG Jedi Order,
big ass patch,
whatever.
Yeah,
the fucking the year on it too. That like he
EST.
attained the rank of master. Right. Yeah, so something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would be badass.
I guess he just took whatever one was on top, but I don't know. It looks a little janky on my man Obi-Wan, but oh well. That's not why we're here. We're here to celebrate. But hey, like I said, here he is doing his general thing. If you're on the live stream, we're talking about the shot where he actually does rally up the people on Jabeam, the Path. I mean, I think that's what they're being referred to at this point in time. So, I mean, their core function is to save Force sensitives, but I think we all could argue that they're they're rebels, right? I mean, this is a form, a type of rebel cell within the galaxy at this point in time that the story's taking place. So love seeing him do his thing. I mean, he really is a leader. In fact, he's a negotiator, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Hey, Transdoshans, how about that? They just kind of popped up out of nowhere.
I like how they did put them in there, though, because Transoceans usually get like a super bad rep because every time you see them, they're like villains,
right?
In some sort of way.
I think that's why, obviously they stood out as the alien in the episode, but it is interesting, like you said, that they're typically scumbags, most recently portrayed as shithead betrayers in the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's nice that they actually had their moment to not be assholes. It's just like most people, like you can't say that everybody from Nebraska is an idiot or something like that. Like some people from Nebraska are idiots. This is totally made up. I just picked a state off the top of my head. And then there are some people in Nebraska who are probably really fucking cool. Not everybody is always the stereotype that they're given.
True,
is what I'm trying to say. So,
well, at some point in time, I think it was Tala. We kind of called that. I was gonna hit Nick up, but I know he doesn't watch it till day of the show. I was gonna be like, dude, we pretty much nailed our speculations for episode 5. It's gonna be dark.
Yeah,
some good guys are gonna die. Tala and Ned B and see ya, R.I.P. You know what I mean? And they had good deaths, though. I like that. Ned B earned it.
They had impactful.
Yeah, he earned it. He kind of had his K2SO moment. And Tala actually, unlike Princess Leia, went through holding a thermal detonator. So you got to give her credit for that. But I think Tala, for the brief time we got to know her, she was a pretty kick-ass character. And it's also like, it was cool to get enough of her backstory at the end to know that like she witnessed the atrocities of the Empire, and that's what caused her to do what she's doing. Thanks, that now you actually reminded me what I was doing and why I pulled her picture up. But she actually talked about Gorel is the planet that under the ruse that people weren't paying taxes, they rounded up all these families and executed them. And she found out that no, it was just because they were force sensitive. But Gorel's important because it plays a pretty major role in Star Wars Rebels. There's I think a multi-episode arc where Phoenix has to hole up and kind of hide away on Gorel while the Empire is on the lookout or already has taken over Lothal. So that's why I had it down there just as a mention. As well as this, I love the fact that they went so hard at showing Ben negotiate. It was not only not only a callback to Revenge of the Sith and General Grievous, like the negotiator, that line. But his freaking command ship is called the Negotiator. We learned this in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and in the Clone Wars. And that was just kind of his thing. I mean, he was the Negotiator. And they literally were like, hey, he wants to negotiate. I love that they actually had the Purge Trooper go up to Reeve and say, he wants to negotiate.
It's like you've been firing fucking missiles at this door for 20 minutes, and then some guy says like, hey, can we talk this out? And you're like, yeah, sure. Yeah. All right.
He wants to negotiate. All right, let's do it. But
I also like how in that scene, he goes up to the door and like uses the Force almost to like try to like connect with her through the Force.
Totally.
But then she just like talks and it kind of throws him off.
She knew what he was trying to do. She could sense that he was trying to sense her. She kind of cut him off. He did not ask her permission after all. But he's requesting to negotiate. I made sure to catch that there with the closed captioning. So what next? Let's talk about the negotiation then, Nick.
Yes.
Sorry, I just had the wet down there. I can hear myself smacking like a loser. But we finally got things revealed. I think for people like myself, and I know you, with patience and trust and people like Dave Filoni, we knew the canon was going to remain intact, and we were going to get answers about Reva's knowledge of certain things and of people dying, so on and so forth. And we got a part of that early on during the negotiation between Reva and Ben, where we do learn once and for all that, yes, the reason she's after these guys is selfishness and revenge. She's been after Anakin the entire time because she blames him for murdering her family, which were the younglings,
the Padawans,
yeah,
the younglings,
and herself.
Yeah.
I mean, I still contend she got stabbed in a perfect mirrored moment, just like he stabbed her when she was young, and managed to live. I know there's a bunch of memes going around like, hey, how come everyone but Qui-Gon can survive chest wounds these days? And
this motherfucker literally gets like stabbed, probably in the most survivable place that you can get stabbed,
right?
And dies almost immediately.
He's toast.
And then even a 6-year-old gets stabbed there, and she's just totally
hangs on. You know, I mean, she suffered a little bit and felt their bodies go cold, but she pulled through.
Yeah, like she gets stabbed as a kid and lives. She gets stabbed now, and she's definitely gonna live. The Grand Inquisitor gets stabbed in the stomach. He lives. How many people have been gut stabbed?
Fennec Shand got shot in the stomach. She's good.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Was Qui-Gon? Qui-Gon was just like, you know what? I'm fucking done with this shit.
Yeah.
he just let himself die.
The motherfucker had some goofy anatomy or something. Maybe he had multiple hearts. Who knows? But yeah, he was unlucky. That goes to show you how skilled Darth Maul is. He knew exactly where to place that saber to ensure a stab to the chest death. As we have learned, it is very elusive in all of Star Wars.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much laid this out on this show as our main speculation. I mean, I think we're struggling there to kind of figure out her anger for Kenobi, but you know, it makes sense the way she delivered it. She's like, dude, he was your fucking problem. How could you let him turn into that guy? You know, where were you? Where the fuck were you?
Yeah.
I mean, we know he was getting his ass shot at by Cody, but from a little kid's perspective, I get it. She's like, motherfucker, you made this dude. Where were you?
You were supposed to be our protectors.
Right, you let us die. Like, you let all my friends get taken out. So, you know, I guess that was the little twist that all along, you know, this was Reva and her mission for revenge against Anakin using Kenobi as bait and not vice versa. I mean, she wasn't using Leia to get Kenobi. I mean, it was never about Kenobi. He is the ultimate pawn here. The ultimate pawn.
Yeah. So Reva's in a weird spot now. Reva's basically in the Asajj Ventress spot of like, she's now been excommunicated essentially from the Empire.
Yep.
She can't go back to the good guys.
Good point on Asajj, because you're dead on.
Yeah, because like, I mean, it's the same situation. So like, realistically, if she lives, which I'm assuming she does from, you know, at the end of this episode, like what does she have to do now?
Here's
like,
my off-the-wall speculation. You ready?
Okay.
We're going to find out.
Go for it.
Her last name is Cardboard. She's going to call up Grief, and he's going to put her in the Bounty Hunter Guild.
Yeah,
sorry.
That would be fucking.
Yeah, that one was stupid. I mean, that was like, you have to be a true fan of the show to even understand what that meant. But I was Grief Cardboard is one of our favorite handles that pops up in this chat every once in a while. That's what we refer to Grief Karga as now. He's always Cardboard. So yeah, she's really Cardboard, and she's going to become a bounty huntress. But I like where you're going. So go ahead. What do you think?
I mean, so we know she has this communicator. Yeah, I mean, this broken communicator, Tatooine, Owen, the boy. Like, that's enough to get her somewhere. But here's the thing: like, she has no reason to bring harm to Luke. I mean, her best chance would be to, if she's trying to get to Vader again, is to use Luke as bait, kind of like she was doing with Leia.
Hear me out, because I think you're on the right track. I do still think, especially in her state of mind now, that she feels if she kills Vader's son, that's going to hurt Vader and bring him back to her again. So I still think she's looking at Luke as a means to get to Vader. But
yeah,
I think that this is where Kenobi ultimately comes into play. Maybe even after he kicks Vader's ass, he then has to make a last-second save on Luke. With Reva, and he's like, listen, lady, our best bet to get revenge on Anakin Skywalker is this young boy. And you have to believe me, just like he started, he got her to buy into some shit in episode 5, but I think he's going to have to do it again.
Yeah.
But I do it because I struggle with that too. Like, what does she do with that knowledge of Vader has children, Tatooine, Owen? And all I could think was she's still going to use that angle to try and either hurt Vader by killing his son or at least luring him out again. So she, I don't know, in some dumb opinion, thinks that she can get him this time.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. Like, you have been, like, you just got shown that even at your best, you couldn't even touch
Not even
him.
close.
Like,
he didn't even bother to pull out his lightsaber. And I do want to go over the duel a bit more, depending on how far we go here. But my God, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, he wiped the floor with you. So, like, any shot that you had is now done. Like, you know that you can't take him in combat. But you also now know that he has a son that he doesn't know about.
Right.
So, and we also know that he doesn't find out about Luke.
So Nick, do you think she feels that if she kills Luke, that's enough? Like, hey, you killed my family, I'm killing your family? Or is it still to try to get him out and spring some cockamamie trap on him?
It's weird because, like, if she tries to kill Luke and then just comes back, if her plan is I'm going to kill this kid and then call him and be like, hey, I killed your son.
I think she would still probably want him to be present, like to see the murder, and she wants to reveal to Vader, like, look, motherfucker, look what I found out. You don't even know this. Your kids did survive. Here's one of them. Bleh! Stab him in the chest. He's awake within a day. You know, he'll be fine. If I get Aunt Beru will just dump some blue milk on it, and he'll be fucking hanging out, like no big deal. Fixing evaporators within a week.
Lightsaber. You see this every day. It's no big deal. I mean, you would have to imagine that she's got to go to Tatooine. There's nowhere else that she can go. I've
stabbed by that was a great line. Stabbed by a lightsaber. See this every day.
No biggie. No biggie. What do you think this is? The Old Republic? Come on.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, she's got to go to Tatooine, but from there, it's like, one, what state is she in when she gets there, and two, like.
Well, like you said, man, she's just got to find like the nearest fucking mod guy, like homeboy from Obi or Boba Fett, and now she'll just get Robo Guts, and she's good to go. Fuck it.
Yeah, she's totally fine. No big deal. It's like, oh, you got a 6-inch hole? No problem. We'll fill that in. We'll get you right back. You'll be better than ever.
Oh my God,
like,
I can't.
Now you don't need to worry about your pancreas anymore because it's an automatic one.
What the fuck?
You'll be fine. You'll live an extra 10 years. So, yeah, I mean, like, she's got to go there. That's
I'm having too much fun. Holy shit. Oxycodone. Okay. Wow.
All right.
Nah, I'm glad we talked about that because that obviously was one of my bullet points. Like, all right, what does she do? What does she do? And like I said, I come to she's gonna think somehow that revealing the Vader that his kid's alive or kids are alive and she's about to kill one, that might get the revenge or check off her vengeance checklist. Because like Nick said, I don't know how, and I know dark side sympathizers, they're cocky. But she can't be that fucking stupid at this point in time. I mean, let's get into the duel as I close this out. But as Nick said, I mean, Vader didn't even fucking try. He could have been sitting on a toilet taking a shit and done exactly what he just did. I mean, like I said, didn't even give her enough respect to pull out his own lightsaber, for Christ's sake. So, last little Easter egg, though. How about Roken whipping a bowcaster? Yeah, I like that. Right?
I know, yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Really awesome. I wonder where he got that from.
He probably fucking killed a Wookiee. You never know, right? You never know. I think the Before the duel, though, we talked about Tala and Nedby. Great death. It was a very well-earned death. Appreciate it. But how about before the duel, the Vader Force Unleash moment? I mean, did that not scratch a few itches you've been wanting to see in live action?
Man. Oh, man. It was beautiful. Like, as soon as I saw it, like, to me, I was like, okay, well, they're just going to get away. Like, we know that they're going to escape somehow. So I just figured they fly off. But to see him, literally have the Force Unleashed moment, ground this ship with not even breaking a sweat, like just sit down
and then
literally rips it to pieces. I mean, God.
You have to argue that ripping it open, he put even more force into that than what it took to get it down. I mean, dude, he shredded it like a tin can. I mean, it didn't even break a robo sweat, as you said. It's just fantastic. But the best part is, as soon as he opens it, I think it went right back to the flashback when Obi-Wan trumps him and reveals to him, like, hey, dummy, here you go. Just taught you again, and he learns another lesson. He's sitting there staring up at them getting away, going, fuck, I am still the learner. Is everyone getting it now? He is still the learner. Might play into a line he might say in A New Hope that everyone was getting angry at. I think it's going to turn out all right and be that much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome. I mean, that was total video game Vader. At this point in time, between what we've seen in this series and that brief hallway scene in Rogue One, there is enough visual evidence, Your Honor, to commission something like this, either a feature-length film or a series, limited, it can be limited, for the Dark Lord of the Sith. I mean, give me a break.
Agree.
Into the duel, my friend. It starts... I mean, he senses her coming up. He just holds her with the Force, throws her around for a bit.
Could you imagine a worse way to start a duel, though? Like, this shouldn't have been a duel. If I'm sneaking up behind you
it was stupid.
have the means to kill you in one shot, the one thing I don't want to do is yell loudly and then swing as far back as possible.
Right. That's I'll definitely cite that as some bad. That was bad writing right there.
Emotion running through her veins. She couldn't.
I guess so. But in the end, it's like, what's she really going to do to him? They're not going to let Reva strike Vader with a lightsaber before Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think they were kind of tied to the moment, but you're right, Nick. I felt the same way. I was like, damn, that looked so dumb. But yeah, I mean, he just stops it. You know, everyone made a big deal about Kylo and Rey. Well, here's the motherfucker doing it first, right here. He doesn't even have real hands, and he's just like throwing her across the cave. How about when she's got the thing pinwheeling and he just keeps walking towards her nonchalantly and stops it mid-motion? Come on. How about him splitting her saber and then throwing her a hilt, further rubbing it in her face like, you suck, but okay, let's keep doing this if you insist. And then we get the motherfucker throwing it. Like, come on. I mean, yes, we've seen Vader throw his lightsaber in the originals, but what happens to the hilt? It just lays there. We finally got to see him do what he did in The Force Unleashed the first time we turned it on, and he was raiding that village, throwing his lightsaber, and it comes back. I mean, come on. Come on.
I mean, it was some badass stuff. It just shows that, like, I mean, first off, he trained all these people. Like, who else could train the Inquisitors? Nobody.
It was his job. It was his punishment, in fact.
Yeah. So he knows everything that these people know, plus a lifetime worth of experience that they've never had. So none of them even stand a chance in a battle.
Such a thing of beauty. Like, I mean, come on. Yeah. Come on.
Incredible.
And I don't know. I'm sure those who have not liked the cinematography in the series probably thought it looked like shit. I thought it looked fantastic. I thought it made Vader look like an absolute Mac Daddy. Like a Mac Daddy. The best he's ever looked. The best he's ever looked. I mean, I like this better than Lord Vader, the Unburnt. I mean, that's a kick-ass fight, but I like this better. He's a hulking monster, just fucking kicking ass and doing it effortlessly. This is my guy. I mean, this is who I'm getting a tattoo of if I ever get a tattoo. Mine's made up. This dude right here, because of shit like this. Excellent. And really, Nick, I think what sealed it as one of my favorite, just, you can't call it a duel, but a Star Wars lightsaber fight, maybe force fight. How's that? I don't know. Was how the very end then directly mirrored her fate on the night of Order 66. Watching
as a child,
Anakin Skywalker lumber towards her, mowing through her friends, and then impaling her to take her out.
Yeah.
And then he just
not killing her again.
Yeah, and then he just gets up and he's like, "Hey, you think I didn't know, fucking youngling? I'm the one that stared in your eyes and stabbed you the last time." I've seen some people trying to say that he did not stab her during the Order 66 moment, and I have to disagree with that.
Yeah, I think they like towards the end, like they showed him.
It's like a direct mirror. They're almost flip booking back and forth between, Lord Vader and Darth Vader. That's how I'm kind of distinguishing that.
So in those people's minds, did he just kill the three people around her and leave her there?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess.
Like he just he was just like, everybody's dead except you because I don't know why.
That's why I just wanted to say, all I want to say is I disagree.
What?
Okay, I just disagree.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense.
And then, for the other people worried about canon, which it's just patience. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're dumb or anything. It's just, you got to have patience. This is a 6-part movie. I mean, just chill. But he came back, and he came back with a great line to remind us all about gut shots in Star Wars, especially if there is a hint of revenge behind it, right? Revenge has a hell of a... What does he say? Something about revenge is a hell of a drug when it comes to... basically, revenge is what it takes to bring... We can come back to life as long as we have revenge in our souls.
Yeah.
So...
And I mean, that's what... Even going back to like Old Republic Jedi, that I don't know if Darth Sion is still canon or not, but like that's like his entire body was fragmented, only held together by hatred. So like the dark side definitely is a tool to many powerful things that a Jedi can't teach you, like
I find unnatural.
Yes, unnatural. But sometimes that works against the dark side too, because people you try to kill also want to kill you back. So
yeah, so he's back.
So
Grand Inquisitor's back. Reva's fate's going to be interesting because as we've heard around the rumor mill, if they do go to a season 2, one has to expect that they're going to keep her around because she is one of the leads. I mean, the story has been driven through her just as much as it's been driven through Ewan McGregor. But she's, her character presents some precarious situations for the canon and how they, kind of treat her moving forward. So the easy thing to do would, Obi-Wan has to take her out. Like he may get through her to the point like, listen, Luke's our ticket for revenge on Anakin, not this. But he may still need to take her out, or maybe she'll finally listen to him and let a little light back in, and that's where season 2 will go into, and we'll see her perish in season 2. But yeah, I agree. Reva at some point has to die, maybe even before the Star Wars Rebels timeline, but definitely before A New Hope. So it'll be interesting. I think we're on to something, at least for the finale with her, that she is going to get to Tatooine with some goal in mind to do something to Luke that is going to serve her end game, which is ultimately to get revenge on Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. And like you said, it's going to ultimately come to Obi-Wan convincing her that, listen, we got to play the long game here, kind of like the Sith did for a few hundred years, thousands of years. we got to play the long game because this little thing that you think is going to get your revenge is actually our ticket here. Between him and his sister, we need them both to get this shit done. So, work with me and let's hang with Qui-Gon Jinn, roll credits.
I mean, it could be a very mirroring scene to what happens with Darth Maul and Rebels. Like he showed up there searching for Kenobi, trying to kill him, and then ultimately finds out about Luke and how Luke is set up to be the savior. I can see that. And then this time, Reva shows up looking for Luke, and similar situation. Obi-Wan takes her out, and on her deathbed, she finds out like, hey, this is the kid or one of the kids that could save, give you the vengeance that you were looking for. So,
and really, I mean, I'm glad you made that connection to Rebels because it could, and I think it would be beautiful if it did that. It's some people would probably, they already did this, but hey, that's what Kenobi does. Motherfuckers come to the planet, he tries to talk reason to them, and he puts them down. I mean, that's his ultimate charge. But like you were saying in Rebels. Maul took solace in knowing that his mortal enemy in the end was there seeing over who they now considered to be the chosen one. Because by that point in time, Obi-Wan had shifted from ever thinking Anakin was to kind of projecting the chosen one onto Luke, as he calls him in Star Wars Rebels. So, yeah, I think Reva will learn a similar lesson to Maul. It just comes down to, are they going to take her out? If they were going to take her out, do they roll one of those possibly other filmed endings to account for a season 2? Who knows? But I think in terms of your guiding speculation, you can take that shit to the bank for episode 6. It will be interesting to see how they dump off Leia, though. Like, do they just fucking roll by Alderaan and shoot her out the side of that hyperdriveless transport? Because really, we're looking at a TLJ situation come credits open for episode 6. I mean, Roken said, we don't have a hyperdrive and they're right behind us. So,
that's not a good spot to
right.
be.
I mean, they very well could get boarded and things could get very hairy right off the bat here. So, there you go. That's our episode 5 breakdown and part 5 speculation fest for Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, real quickly, dude. Got a few collectibles of note that popped up this week. I did some shorts for them. I'd love for you to check them out, either on YouTube Shorts, IG Reels, or on TikTok. Check us out, Star Wars Time Show. You know what to do. But Nick, they showed them off, man. The 1/6 scale Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett. So that version of Cad from Hot Toys. Showed him off. He's coming in a deluxe, which will get you Toto and his boot rockets. Or
how blue is he?
I would love to play the short, but it could blow something up. Yeah, so I think his shade of blue just looks perfect on this figure. But he's already up there for pre-order. There is a standard $270. The deluxe is $290. You might as well just pay the extra $20 to get Toto and the boot rockets, even though it's kind of it's like, come on, really? Those are deluxe. That's deluxe these days, Hot Toys. But so goes collecting. So I'm more than likely definitely going to have to get him. And then the other one is the actual Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. And he's just your standard version, my friend. I think he's going for $275. But here's the deal on the Boba. There's a lot of people like me that already ordered the Throne set, which was based on the Mandalorian version of repainted Boba Fett. That's not the same as what this version is in the version we saw in the Book of Boba Fett. His pants are different. The paint application's a bit different. The weathering's a bit different. So for assholes like myself, do you think we need to also pick up this Fett, or to just stick with the Throne version of Fett in his repainted armor? I mean, I could try and play this. Here we go.
You know, I am always going to be the voice of reason when it comes to toys for you. I'm going to say that you probably don't need this slightly different paint job. but I know that there's also people out there like Trevor and like Jason and, and all of the toy photographers out
But it
there,
won't look
Jared
right,
and
dude.
all of them.
If I pair him with Cad Bane, it won't look right. It won't look right.
That's what I'm saying. I am here to say that you don't need it. I will let Jared and Jason and Trevor and all the rest of them push your wallet towards the new paint job.
All right. Well, I did freeze it on the other version that I am getting, the one on the throne. And as you can see, his under tunic, a little bulkier under the neck, and his pants are they're kind of like hammer pants. And look at the paint. Look at the paint. How did he get it painted, Nick? How did he paint it in between episodes?
If I was Boba Fett, I would have an armor painter on fucking payroll.
Damn straight. At this point, you're daimyo.
Every day.
You're daimyo.
Yeah, exactly. I spent a day in the Junlin Wastes and I'm just hanging out. Like I come back home, I'd be like, hey, Larry, I need a fucking touch up here, man. The sand is just so abrasive on my armor.
And we know you don't like your sand, just like Anakin.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of sand, how about we segue into our final topic before this week's fan segment?
A nightmare vacation,
and this is
for Anakin Skywalker.
We got the trailer drop today, and I'm always happy and excited for Lego Star Wars stuff. But we got the trailer today for Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation, which is the latest Lego Star Wars special coming from the same team, I believe, that worked on the holiday special and the that Halloween one they recently did, Nick, where they had like 3 little minis. Mm-hmm. If you haven't watched that one yet, they're one of the shorts is great because it's not so much a horror short. It's more of a Star Wars what if, because they show what would happen if Luke Skywalker actually joined the Imperial Navy instead of making his way to the Rebel Alliance. But trailer dropped today for Summer Vacation. I checked it out, told Nick to try to give it a buzz, and it definitely looks good. I mean, it looks like it's going to have a fun story, including pretty much the entire Skywalker saga, like Lego properties have been doing recently. Coming out on August 5th, I believe Finn is actually going to kind of be the lead for this one. So they kind of swap that around in between each special now. Yeah, it seems like her or Rey and Finn are gonna be like a coupley type of thing. Like it seemed like in the trailer they were like having little romantic. Dude, I think that was Rose. Possibly. I think that was Rose. Oh, that was Rose. Okay. Yeah. But someone put up a synopsis. Apparently, Finn's gonna get visited from 3 Star Wars ghosts. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, Leia, and Kenobi, and maybe Anakin, possibly. I don't know. So you might get some cool stuff in there, especially if they, touch on Finn's supposed Force connection that was or was not being explored in the sequel trilogy. Weird Al is going to be in it. He voices a character. Plus, he created a new single for it called, I think, Scarif Island or something like that. Yeah, so... I think it's Scarif Beach Party or something. If you got little ones out there, or if you're like me and just enjoy Lego Star Wars anything, Summer Vacation trailer dropped today. Give it a look. Series. I mean, for the real OGs, like Lego Star Wars is as close as we'll ever get to Star Wars Detours. Oh yeah, like the droid tales. I think some of them you can't even get anymore. Like they won't even sell them. iTunes may have a few. I'm glad I know I at least bought them when they were out or ripped them from my own Blu-rays. But they are, Nick's right. I mean, they really go tongue-in-cheek about the franchise and kind of poking fun at each of the 6 main movies. I would still love Detours to come out, but oh well. Let's go ahead and get into the fan segment. And if you're new here, we do this every week, all right, people? Every week. There's 2 ways to get into it. The first way, which is the opening half of the fan segment, is the question of the week. Every week on our Instagram, just check our profile or our stories and look for that question of the week and respond to it. If you're lucky, Nick will do a block copy and paste, and you will be included in the bulk copy, and we will discuss your comment on the Star Wars Time show. So let me go ahead and get that queued up here. Yeah, this is another block one because I told Matt before we went live,
Matt and I both use Audacity for our, or used Audacity for our recording software. And I had some last minute troubleshooting. I had to download a new audio recording software to use. And because of that, I had less time to pull the 5 answers.
We're always prepared.
So I just took a nice block.
Prepared here. All right, so this week's question of the week, as next week will be very similar to it. Maybe we'll go for the whole series overall. No, I'll save that. I might as well milk this cow for as long as I can here. So this week, what was your favorite or least favorite, to throw in some negativity, part from Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 5? All right, my friend, let's go. Who do we got? Who's up first in the block of replies?
First up is Star_Wars_alternate_realities. Underscores are Instagram's favorite little character. But anyway, Star Wars Alternate Reality says, favorite part for me was that we got to see the first ever live action Red Blade versus Red Blade lightsaber battle. Something I hope we see more of in Acolyte.
That's a very good point. I'm surprised I fucked that up.
That is a very good point.
Kudos to you, Alternate Realities. That is a good point. That is a first of firsts. And one that I'm going to have to beat myself for after this. Like, I was sitting here, I was like, you know what? My knee's starting to fucking ache. Let's move things along. Now I think I need to sit here a bit longer and just feel the pain. So thank you for that.
We didn't get a Dooku versus Maul fight because of how the prequels played out. We didn't get
it's spot on.
Anything.
It's spot on.
Yeah, no. Good call out there by Star Wars Alternate Reality. 2797_studios. We know who that guy is. He's in the chat. He says, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe Vader kicking Reva's ass with only the Force." There was a lot of cool moments, but that was truly the holy shit moment for me.
It is good. I mean, just if you haven't seen the fight again since the first time you've watched it, do yourself a favor and just cue it up, because just his movements are so... I mean, he looks like Bruce fucking Lee. It looks like Bruce Lee making someone look foolish like we've seen him do in all his demos, but he is just so smooth and effortless. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thing of beauty. Next up, Tones1138, Vader's pure, raw power moment. Seen some silly turds saying it looked like a video game. I absolutely loved it and was left totally satisfied with his portrayal in the show.
If it's not incredible. One thing, it's the other, man. It's like...
saying it looked like a video game. You want to know why? Because it was straight from a video game. Like that moment of him pulling the ship down.
It looked fucking awesome.
It looked awesome. Like it was from a video game, because it literally was. For those of you who are like too young and haven't played Force Unleashed, or for those of you who didn't have a PS2 at that time, like, do yourself a favor, go back and play.
It's on Switch. Your parents can get it for you at this point. Go for it.
Original Force Unleashed. Force Unleashed 2 is okay as well, but Force Unleashed 1 was like a genre-defining moment.
You have to
for
play.
Star
You kind of do. Even though it's aged, it hasn't aged too well, but at least on the Switch, you'll get it as upped as it's going to be.
Yeah, just incredible game. Next up, Press Pause Photography with all of the associated underscores says, a small moment, but I think a favorite for me was Obi-Wan's quote, "He hasn't the patience for a siege." Hearing him say that, coupled with those beautiful flashbacks, really cemented the fact that Vader is in fact Anakin.
Thank you.
We all know this, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's getting it. He's seeing the code
That's
now.
what I saw. I mean, that's what I think. Press Pause actually eloquated it better. You know, got it. Yes. But that's exactly what I meant.
Yes. So this is what he also goes on to say. We all know this, of course, but for me, there has still always been a disconnect, and to see both sides of the character in the same medium like this was an excellent through line. We all see Vader as this powerful villain, and he can be, but this episode showed that there's still the same Padawan there that Obi-Wan knows all too well. Just excellent writing, in my opinion.
Thank you for saying it like a smart person.
Says it all. Says it all. Press Pause Photography. Triple P coming in. The new Triple P.
He can take over. He can take over for me during those types of moments. That's what I meant to say.
pause. We may have you just write in a blurb to send.
Because that's exactly how I feel
show.
And felt. I just was not able to express it that way. So rewind it an hour or so and just sub in what press pause said. Go ahead.
100%. All right. And last for the 5 responses from the question of the week is Ted5 standing by. Still love that name. Fave is a tie between seeing Obi-Wan become the negotiator once more or watching Vader absolutely shred the ship and wipe the floor with Reva. You know what's interesting about these responses? No negatives. You still put out there too. You're like, what's your favorite and least favorite parts? No least favorites in this one. All favorites in these responses.
Nice.
It's always nice to have a bit of positivity.
Good. I'm feeling positive myself, but I can definitely tell it's getting close to time for me to hit it. So,
well, there we go. Matt's leg is telling him it's time to go. So you know what that means? It's time for the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week, brought to you by the Star Wars Time Show. As Matt always says, you send through your posts using hashtag Star Wars Time Show at Star Wars Time Show on the IG. He will pick out his favorites of Matt's favorites. I'll pick out my favorites, which become the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. And that's how it works. Hashtag Star Wars Time Show at Star Wars Time Show on the IG. So,
who do we got?
First up this week is at Kill Cutter Photo. I was so into the original Tanks 666 crossover between Predator and Star Wars that I brought it back this
Maul
week.
didn't fare so well in this one, though, did he?
He did not. So the first picture that we saw last week from Tanks was the initial face-off, and what we see now from Kill Cutter is the eventual ending of this battle, where Maul is impaled on the Predator's armed arm
gauntlet
blades,
or whatever the hell he wears there.
Yeah, whatever the fuck he's got going on there. But you can also see in the background 3 xenomorphs crawling up the trees, getting ready to pounce on the
Yes,
the
I guess
Predator.
you don't truly know who the ultimate winner here is, but it's a great put together shot, well composed. A lot of practicality here. Just look at the Mandalorian helmet with the skull coming out.
Yeah. The skulls. I mean, you see I think that's another Mandalorian that's had his head ripped off kind of right there on the bottom right of the image. I just love that the depth of field, I guess you would say. It's like a video game term here. You have your incredible foreground characters, but then you look deep into that fog, into that forest, and you see those xenomorphs climbing up that tree.
No, it's brilliant stuff here. So if you're not able to see it, not on the live stream, make sure to check it out on StarWarsTime.net. Or go, even better, follow at KillCutterPhoto on Instagram.
That's right. Beautiful stuff. Next up is at YC_solo. And this is a fantastic Lego representation of episode 1 of Kenobi, where we see the Inquisitors themselves making their way into the Tatooine market. So you see Lego Grand Inquisitor, Lego Reva, and then Lego, what is it? Second brother, third brother? I can't remember the
fifth brother.
Number
5.
Fifth brother. There we go.
Johnny 5.
2 + 3, 5. So we see all 3 of them walking up, lightsabers ignited, intimidating the Tatooine market crowd. And I mean, it's just a fantastically composed shot, but also like seeing the twin sons of Tatooine in the background. All of the setup that's required for this, all these little figures that YC Solo set up, all the dioramas or the buildings that he put together in the background, just absolutely incredible attention to detail here.
Yeah, some of the best scene building in all of the Lego Star Wars photography game, and there's no doubt about it. Nick nailed it. It's a thing of beauty. If you love Legos and Star Wars and people that can craft Hollywood style scenery, at YC_solo.
That's right. Give him a follow on the IG. Next up is at Intergalactic Raptor. Intergalactic Raptor, we know here as this master of the mashup. He always has these fun scenes, but this one, we got a straight up action-oriented Mandalorian scene. We see
Season 3
Mr.
right
Mando
here.
himself. Yeah. Season 3 fighting happening in real time. So you see Mr. Mandalorian Din Djarin with his Darksaber ignited, cutting open the neck of a stormtrooper on the ground. You see Cosca Reeves in the background with an Imperial officer held in a headlock, and then you see the bad girl herself, Bo-Katan Kryze, flying above the rest of them, firing down at all of the other combatants on the field while she just dispatched one off to her right. It's just a fantastic scene put together here by Intergalactic Raptor.
Yeah, no, it's badass. Like I said, who knows how well all these Mandos are going to play together in Season 3. But we do know what happens when they get together with a common cause, and that's exactly what Intergalactic _Raptor is giving us right here. And that is kicking ass and not even worrying about names here. It's just a very dynamically staged shot. Job well done.
Beautiful. Indeed. At Intergalactic _Raptor on the Instagram. Go give him a follow. Next up, as you said, an impressive setup from at Drew Originals on Instagram, at Drew Originals. And what we see is Vader pacing in front of his squadron of stormtroopers, potentially before a battle, or potentially as a firing squad for those who have let him down.
Yeah.
So what we see is all of them lined up in formation, and then you see just the back of Vader as he walks along the line. It almost feels like he's about to stop, turn, and face one, and then just kill the guy.
It's just right to me, it's another movie still, especially from like Lucas's films. I mean, right out of the original trilogy here. I believe those are all figures lined up, which is always an impressive feat, especially if you're someone like myself with zero patience. I mean, this is not fun at all. I don't know if Drew's listening, but I would like to hear if these motherfuckers dominoed at any time during the setup. But it does. It just looks like a scene from the Death Star or Vader's Star Destroyer right out of the movies. I love it. I love how he captured the back of Vader. It looks like he's walking, and as always, not even addressing his troops, but they're standing straight up because they know better.
Oh,
so. Good stuff from at Drew Originals on Instagram.
And last but not least, of course, is at Kiko.collects on Instagram. And it's just the bad boy himself. It's Darth Revan in all of his glory. Nice close-up shot. See both of his lightsabers ignited. The red in the front, the purple in the back. Hood up, full face mask on, full dark side attire. Is on his person. I mean, if you've played the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, you're very familiar with this Scourge. Or if you've played the original KOTOR games, I mean, Darth Revan is one of those Sith Lords / Force Masters. Is probably just the best way to describe him. A true Force Master.
Yeah, this
in
thing,
all of his glory.
Would you buy something like this? Because I think this is a statue and not a figure. Because I mean, if this was a figure, I would own it. But I'm pretty sure it's a statue, so obviously it's going to be pre-posed and all that in a kick-ass pose. But this thing is so fucking cool. This is one of the coolest versions of Darth Revan I've ever seen. Like a collectible, in collectible form.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge collector, but something like this, especially for Revan, I'm a Revan homer. I love the guy.
That's why I was asking. Like, would you throw down some change on this, knowing it's a statue? I is meant to be kind of displayed.
Might do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially getting a new house, have a little bit more space to spread some things out. Yeah, I think I could make him work in my new office area.
That fucking helmet. I mean, the helmet it's everything.
I know,
it's so fucking badass.
It is sick. Kiko, if you are, I'm going to click through to Kiko's page to see if he says what this figure is.
Right, actually.
All he says is Revan. It just says Revan on the post. And it doesn't say where it's from. Kiko, if you listen to this episode,
it says premium. It says premium format, so that might be like a Sideshow premium format statue.
Gotcha. Okay, so now we know where to look for those interested. But yeah, I mean it's just a beautiful shot of a incredibly detailed and intimidating figure.
Awesome.
At Kiko.collects on the Instagram. And guess what, folks? That's it. That's the top 5 for this week. It was a short one, but you know why? The only thing that's going on is Kenobi. So Matt, why don't you take us home? Why don't you close the show?
That's right.
out?
I need to get out of here anyways. My knee feels like it's locked into place, so I'm gonna have to deal with whatever fun that is. But it needs to start bending anyways, so I'm sure my doctor's happy. But as Nick said, yeah, not too long today. They may be short for the next week or so, depending on recovery for me. Wah! Little baby Matt in his leg, but I'll get there, and hopefully my beard will start to grow in. By week 8, be looking like some hobo that should be living on Tatooine in a gutter with a lightsaber wound in my gut. All right, everyone, you know the drill at this point in time. We love you. Keep spreading the word. If you are new here, hopefully you enjoyed what you just listened to. If you did, make sure to check us out on the internet. StarWarsTime.net is the place to find us. It is also the best site to get all of our links to the podcast, which is what you just listened to, but on a podcast platform, as well as our YouTube channel, which, hey, if you're here and you're listening, you're still on the live stream, go ahead and like today's stream. Leave a comment if you feel like it. Do a clip, share it on your own socials. Show these people why you would ever consider spending time listening to the Star Wars Time show. We know there's always time for Star Wars Time, but do they? I doubt it. That's why you're here. Help us out. Because if you do listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you always.